All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Ba'Shem Rachak Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS who rule well. And also honor and salutations to those of you who are of the hopeful elect and are out there teaching the word in sincerity and truth. All right, so I was going over some things. Salah, can bear with me for a second here. I was going over some things, and now you see in in the news over the last couple of days that the new face for for COVID-19 has become so-called blacks in America, and it's to no surprise. We know the agenda of these Edomites, and ultimately the agenda is to reclaim the birthright that our forefather Isaac had given to Jacob, right? And he is willing to do any and everything at all costs to be able to, you know, make sure that, you know, that he can have that birthright, right? So it's no surprise that, you know, he's going to use this to you know, reduce the population of our people, man. This is just what he does. Anybody else that dies or gets harmed by anything that Esau has going on are just, you know, casualties of war. You know, Esau is looking to destroy our people, destroy the nation of Israel, and that's what he's gonna do, right? But what I started thinking about, and you know, the elder Adam and I spoke about it last night a little bit, was REX84, and what REX84 is, or what it was intended to do, and what it is basically REX84 is a part of a larger plan, which is known as King Alfred's plan. This is King Alfred. Give me a second here. My memories. Yeah, King Alfred's plan, which basically says that, you know, if something were to break out, that they would use this legislation to exterminate 22 million so-called black people, right? Now, the interesting thing about that 22 million came from the United States Census count from 1970, right? Now, if you notice, as of late, in the last couple of weeks or so, maybe even matter of fact, maybe at the turn of the year, I received the first one, and I've received 3 altogether, and my lady received one as well, which was a census in the mail, right? And it's all coming together now. So they sent out several of them, right? They sent out several of them and said that if you don't respond to the notice, that is, you know, you could be, I think it said jail time, but it could have said fined. I can't remember now. I didn't fucking rip the thing up as soon as I saw what it was. I ripped it up and threw it in the trash. But it makes sense because they came up with that 22 million number from the 1970 census, and I think they do the census every 10 years, if I'm not mistaken. Every 10 years, so they would have had done one in 1970, 1980, 1990, 2000, 2010, which is the first time I saw a census when I lived, when I first moved to a town with me and the elder Adama where we were living, and now here it is 2020, another one's coming, right? So here now in 2020, they gotta make sure that number is accurate, right? So they're taking a census so they can see if their numbers are accurate, because the last thing they want is to kill the 22 million and it not be enough according to what their plans are. So they got to make sure that they got all the niggas they got to make sure they get all the niggas available and take them out, right? Now I'm gonna tell you, this is just my I'll say this is the Spirit of the Lord, giving me the eyesight to be able to see this. But I done seen 2 different census commercials on TV, right? And the first one was a young black couple. They had to been about 20, 21 years old, maybe a little bit older, maybe in their early 20s, and they were walking through a park, and they were talking about how the census is good, it helps the community and blase, right? And first thing I said was, oh, you see, they're targeting, and this is me going through this REX84 thing. It's a refresher, because I haven't looked at this REX84 since 2008, right? So this is all a refresher. But I'm looking at this commercial, and the first thing I said was, oh, see, they're targeting Jake. They want to know how many Jake is out here in the world today. So that's why they make this commercial. So you got these 2 young black kids, probably not even married. If they are married, I'm just going by the flow of the commercial. If they are married, they're newly married, right? And then the next commercial I saw, right, was they had a Jake on the screen, and he was talking about, I wish there was a bus stop closer to the house so I could meet my wife and she didn't have to walk from the bus to the home at night by herself. And then they clipped to him talking to his wife on FaceTime. Oh, I just got off the bus, babe. I'm on my way home right now. He said, oh, you on your way home, baby? Okay. And they talking on the phone. So then they cut to him filling out the census, and he's saying, oh, the census helps our community so we can get, the proper service in our community, and so forth and so on. So they're using this census to target Jake, and every census in that case, to target Jake and how many of them there are, so that they can wipe us out, man. And that's a fact. And once I start reading through this document, you're gonna see that. And anyone who would protest this is just you're not paying attention to what Satan's devices are, man. Right. So matter of fact, let me go here. I'm gonna read this. And I don't have anything written down. I really was just gonna read the article, but as I started talking, things started coming to me. This is Psalms. This is Psalms 83. I'll start at the let me see. Start at the first verse. It says, "Keep not thou silence, O power; hold not thy peace, and be not still, O power. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head." Right? And you if you Negroes, right? You Negroes, Hispanics, and natives think that the so-called white man doesn't hate you, something's wrong with you, man. He has a disdain for you, and this disdain goes all the way back to Jacob and Esau, man. When our forefather, our great grandfather, generations removed, gave our forefather Jacob the birthright and didn't give it to Esau, man. So this hatred goes all the way back to then, and he's harbored that hatred since then, man. Like the man Esau wanted to kill his brother Jacob because of this. And like I always say, that hatred seeped into his blood and into his testicles, and every seed that has been skeeted out of an Edomite since then has had that same hatred for our people. And this is just these next few weeks, months, and I don't know how long it's gonna go, but these next coming weeks and months are gonna be a very hard time for you so-called black people here in America. It's gonna be a very hard time, and you're gonna see the horns exposed by the so-called white man. You're gonna see his horns being exposed. Okay. So it says they have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. Right. So they've done that. They've done a piece of that, which is, you know, kind of removing the name being addressed to the right people. Right. Now the second part of that is to wipe them off the earth completely, so that name will never be heard in all the earth again, man. That is his heart's desire. That's what he wishes for the nation of Israel to be removed off the earth, because the elect of Israel and Israel as a whole ultimately are the threat to his rulership. Why? Because that rulership can only happen if the nation of Israel is not in existence, because the rulership belongs to them. It belongs to us, the children of Israel, that world to come, that kingdom to come, that is going to be ruled by the Lord Yahushua, is for the nation of Israel, and the nation of Israel only, to rule over the whole world in righteousness, man. And they want to stop that. Okay? Continuing on, it says, for they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom, the Ishmaelites of Moab, and the Hagarenes, Gebal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines, with the inhabitants of Tyre. So, and it goes on to mention more nations, but all these nations have been in cahoots with Esau in the extermination of our people. Matter of fact, what is that? This is Lamentation 2, and I'll start at 15. It says, all that pass by clap their hands at thee, they hiss and wag their head at the daughter of Jerusalem, saying, is this the city that men call the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth? All thine enemies have opened their mouth against thee, they hiss and gnash the teeth, they say, we have swallowed her up. Certainly this is the day that we look for, we have found, we have seen it. So they all of them, they all look at us and say, oh, I'm so happy they got taken out and taken down. None of these nations have reverence for us, but by the power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, he is going to make them reverence us, man, by way of his son, the Lord Yahushai, man. You see? So this is what's going on. They are trying to wipe us out. And you notice, right, if you're looking at, right, so if you're looking at it from a perspective of someone in the world, you'll say, oh man, this is all happening so fast. This is spiraling out of control, right? But when you look at it from the perspective of a man of the Lord, you say they are rushing. You can see them rushing, right? Now, the day of the Passover, it came out that there was a satellite viewing of a chariot outside of Earth, and they showed the Earth in comparison to this chariot, this craft, and it more than I want to say quadrupled in size, but it was even more than that. This thing swallowed up Earth several times over. And if you notice, right, right after Passover, that's when things started heating up, and it seemed like things was like just going faster and faster and faster. Now, now look, turn around, right? We're in April. We're in April already. You see? So things are speeding up, and Esau is trying to hurry up and fulfill this enterprise so that he can take over. Matter of fact, let me read 2 more scriptures and then I'll get into this article. This is Revelation Revelation. This is Revelation 12:12. It says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time." You see? He knoweth that he hath but a short time, man. He knows that his time is up. So these next few weeks, these next few months, he is gonna be full of wrath, man. You know, like when you like, I'll give you a visual example of what Esau is going through right now. When you watch the movie, The Book of Eli, right? And the man who was kind of like running shit, when he was like, you know, they was like, you know, when he was telling his boys, you know, they was like, you know, damn, man, it's just a book. You got hundreds of books. And he was like, it's not just a book, it's a weapon. And that level of, you know, desperation and hurry up and get that fucking thing that's the spirit that Esau is in right now. Come on, we gotta do this. Come on, let's move. And you can tell because it's sloppy, man. It's sloppy. I mean, it went from China to America, and now America has the highest number of cases, and now the face of it is Jake, man. Come on, man. Esau got something going on, man. All right. So one more scripture. What was the other one that I was thinking of? Yeah. I think it's where is that? Let's see. This is Job 20 and start at 4. It says, "Knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon the earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite before a moment? Though his excellency mount up to the heavens, and his head reach unto the clouds, yet he shall perish forever like his own dung. They which have seen him shall say, Where is he? He shall fly away as a dream, and shall not be found. Yea, he shall be chased away as a vision of the night. The eye also which saw him shall see him no more. Neither shall his place any more behold him. His children shall seek to please the poor, and his hands shall restore their goods. His bones are full of the sin of his youth, which shall lie down with him in the dust." You see? So he's running out of time, man. He's running out of time, so he's gonna be executing all his legislation in these coming days, man. So let me read some of this article here. Start at the beginning. So this is from LinkedIn, which I was surprised about, but this is from 2015, July 24th, 2015. If you want to look it up, it's called "The King Alfred Plan" by Cheryl King. Okay, and the subtitle is "Blacks to be Exterminated, Auschwitz Style." You goddamn right. All right, so I'm gonna just bounce around in here because it's a lot to read, but I'm gonna bounce around in here. I'm gonna read this first. Let me see, the first 2 paragraphs. Then I'm gonna jump down to, let's see, right here. Let me see. I'll probably read some of that right there. Just bear with me for a second. I'm just trying to figure. There's one more part that I wanted to. Yep. Okay. All right. So let me start back up here. So again, this is by Cheryl King. It says "Blacks to be exterminated, Auschwitz style." So this is basically her rehashing some things that were previously researched. And this is probably why it's on LinkedIn. But anyway, you can look it up. And this I had it's in my file cabinet. I gotta pull it out. But it's the REX84 document itself. I have, or not the document, but the details of the document I have. I just gotta dig it out. But I'll read it here so you can get the gist of what's going on. So it says, "You are about to read information extracted from the U.S. Library of Congress by researchers residing in Ohio, Pennsylvania, and California. Due to the sinister objectives outlined in the data, disclosure to the blacks and Hispanic communities is obligatory. This data is accessible for verification and has been abridged due to space constraints. It says, a new government program was developed by the National Security Council between the years 1960 and 1964. It is called the King Alfred Plan. The plan details the encampment and extermination of 22 million blacks, U.S. Census count for 1970. It has been solidified by Reagan under Mr. Louis Guifreda, ex-director of the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA. The plan is under the control of FEMA and had been secured under Executive Orders 11490, 11921, 12148, and amended under National Security Directive number 52, aka REX84, as of April 6, 1984, right? So let me jump down in here. I'm going to go to the second part of this. Was this the one? Right. So here I'm going to read this, right? Because this is another part of the desperation of Esau going on, right? So this, let me see. This says, I'll start here. It says, Policy Planning Study, PPS 23, February 1948, by George Kennan of the State Department Planning Staff, reported that the U.S. must devise a pattern of relationships which will permit them to maintain 50% of the world's wealth while only having 6% of the world's population. The U.S. must cease to talk about unreal objectives such as human rights, raising of living standard, and democratization. In 1950, he stated that a major concern for U.S. foreign policy must be the protection of our raw materials, right? So it says this, number one says, in the National Security Memorandum, NSM 200, 1975, Henry Kissinger stated that a reduction of the rate of population of these states, third world countries, is a matter of vital U.S. security, since the U.S. will require large and increasing amounts of materials from abroad, especially from less developed countries. That fact gives the U.S. enhanced interest in the political, economic, and social stability of these supplying countries. Wherever a lessening of population can increase the prospects of such stability, population policy becomes relevant to resources supplied and to the economic interests of the United States. Okay? So in other words, we get all our shit from all of these countries, so we got to make sure that the people in those countries aren't using the shit that we need. So we got to do everything in our power to make sure that the population is under control, right? Imagine that. Here it is. This is your United States government, man, talking like this. Okay. For those of you who trust in America so much, talking about Trump. I heard one more jig saying Trump is doing a good job. He's doing it good. He's doing the best he can with what he was given. I don't want to hear that shit no more, man. Number two, it says ex-President Carter fanned the flames when he issued a directive to Congress on May 23rd, 1977, ordering a 3-year study on world population, natural resources, and the environment. To summarize, 776 pages, Global 2000 report to the President, 1978, establishes that there will be zero population growth for the whites on Earth by the year 2000. And in order to preserve the survival of the white race, lands which contain resources that the U.S. needs must be freed of its surplus population. Now, that doesn't even make any sense. It just goes to show you how Esau is the adversary, man. How can you have surplus of a population? But again, Bill Gates thinks the same thing. Bill Gates thinks the same thing, that there's a surplus of people. So instead of reducing your overuse, you say that there's too many people. How can you have a surplus of people when the Lord said be fruitful and multiply? That means that the Heavenly Father put everything on this earth that we all need. Okay. Continuing on. Actually, let me move down to. So here's some of the things that they plan to do quell the population in these places, right? So check this out. Right, it says fertility rates will be severely reduced. Actually, I skipped down a couple. Here's the first one. It says water will be polluted in Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and North Africa to destroy the coastal fisheries. Second one, the desertification unit, the UN Desertification Conference 1977, will destroy woodlands in the Sahel region and NC Africa below the Sahara Desert to increase destruction of topsoil and promote desert conditions. The people will have to resort to cow dung and field residue for fuel. Topsoil will have to be imported from the U.S. Okay. Third one says fertility rates will be severely reduced. Didn't say how. Price of food will increase 95%, and Central Africa's food consumption will drop to 20% below FAO standards for survival. And for every $1 increase in GNP for less developed countries, there will be a $20 increase for North America, Western Europe, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, and Canada. This is crazy, man. It says weather will be manipulated to affect production and demand of food exported from Thailand and Argentina, right? It says, and this is another one, this is the last one here. It says the world will be encouraged to move from oil toward nuclear, hydronuclear, natural gas, and coal for fuel resources, right? And hasn't that been happening? We got to find more natural gas resources, right? This is all what they've been doing. So the things that we're seeing, right, are right in line with this REX84, right? So the extermination of 22 million blacks is also in line as well. So it's no surprise to me that now all of a sudden so-called blacks have become the face of this corona, man. So let me read this one more point. Let me see. Where is it? Boom. So it says this, and this is the last part I read. I didn't realize I've been going this long. In addition to the above so-called legal enforcement in 1982, Oliver North and Reagan added an amendment to King Alfred entitled REX84, signed into law in 1984, which provides that Latinos be included in the extermination and that the neo-Nazi groups in Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi be federally funded and trained so that when the president-to-be declares the national crisis, these groups will be immediately deputized to assist law enforcement in the roundup of incarceration. See? So that's what's going on, man. That's what's happening in the world today. This is what you're seeing, right? But if you were in the spirit, right, and you had your faith in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, you wouldn't know that you're going to be saved from these things. Or you would have the ability to be saved from these things. You would have hope. But there is no hope for Jake in America, man. Because most of them really don't believe in the Lord. Most of them. Most of them don't believe in the Lord. They say they do because it makes them feel good. It makes them feel happy inside. But they don't really believe in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, man. Alright, so that's it, man. That's all I had. Well, hopefully it was edifying. I want to give all praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai Bashem Dash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS. Honor, salutations to the hopeful elect. And with that, I say shalom.